This is Index Joy, and today we have a pick a card reading for you where we are going to look at the question: what internal change does your intuition want you to know? So there are 4 piles today, but there's also the deck to choose from or a gemstone to choose from. We have pile 1, the Luna Soul Tarot with pink calcite, and I'll show a close-up as well. We have pile 2, the Symbolic Soul Tarot with the Snow Quartz. We have pile 3, the Good Karma Tarot with the Honey Calcite. And last but not least, we have the Cat Tarot with the Trilobite. You can take a second here to choose your pile. But if you know which one you want, the timestamps are listed down below as per usual, and I'll see you there. Hi, my pile ones. If you've chosen the Luna Soul Tarot as well as the pink calcite, then this is your reading. So today we're looking at the question of what internal change does your intuition want you to know? And let's start off with the pink calcite and what the pink calcite represents. So the pink calcite represents and can clear and active and also activate the heart chakra. It gently removes emotional blockages, stimulates release of buried anger or grief, assists the body in integrating minerals from food, supports the body to regenerate tissue from injury, can help with skin irritations and acne. And the affirmation for this stone is: my emotional body is healed and whole, and I extend the grace of my heart's compassion to myself and all beings. And that's definitely a feeling that I was getting even before I started the reading, was this level of compassion and self-love, and as well as self-mastery towards who you are and what you're going through. And it feels like you're taking accountability for a lot of past actions, past experiences, and you're no longer putting yourself in a victim mentality. Yeah. It also feels like you might be going through a lot of stored trauma in the body that's wanting to release. I can feel my heart pounding a lot. So it feels like you're really in the state of being able to clear a lot of emotional baggages, especially when it comes to the heart. It might feel like you have gone through some shit. I'm getting very emotional right now, so it feels like you're in my pile that's gone through quite a bit, especially when it comes to emotional relationships. It feels like you were probably gaslit or betrayed, or you put your trust and faith in someone and they didn't deliver. They might have not done anything which would have felt like they've abandoned you. You might have gone through something where no one was on your side and you felt super alone. having to be who you are. And it might have been a case where you didn't even know that you could be who you are. It feels like with this pile, there's a very divine feminine essence, and this goes again for all genders. But what I mean from the divine feminine essence is that there was a more receptive energy that you are naturally in tune with and naturally inclined to be. Like, there's an energy of being observant and being understanding and compassionate and open, kind of like the elements of water, where you could flow with anything and take all the emotional waves that water forms into, whether that be a still pond or the great tidal waves in the ocean. It feels like you've gone through quite a bit, and naturally you are a more receptive energy. However, it feels like with what you've gone through in your past, it kind of almost feels like night and day to where you are now. It feels like you might have been on complete survival mode, complete grinds, complete confusion of existence, but now you are in a place that's a bit clearer, easier to see, more peaceful. One where you can actually be yourself in an energy that feels a lot more like you. So you might have transitioned out of something. You either moved, got a new job, a new life change. But this, what your internal, let's get to the question of what internal change does your intuition want you to know? Is that you've made it. You've made it. I apologize because I'll probably edit out some of the pauses, but this one, I didn't think we'd start off with me getting super emotional, but it feels like you have been in a state of soul care and you're going through it, and it feels like you're just healing now. I'm crying a lot, and I feel like it's a sign of healing. All the work you've done, all the work you're doing, all the work you're putting in. And it might not even feel like work. It might be like putting yourself down for not feeling as productive as you want to be. But even in your rest moments, know that you're still working. If you're someone who goes through a lot of REM cycles when you sleep, if you have more dreams than the average person does, your brain's still working. Your mind's still there. It's still processing. It's still going through everything. The things that your body stored up, it's now being able to be released because you're in a state, you're in a place where you can breathe and you can finally rest and you can finally clear out all the things that's happened to you and understand them a little bit more piece by piece. And it might have been where you were ostracized for being different. And you tried your hardest to really fit into a place that you've outgrown. And you put your best foot forward and were met with disagreements, dare I say, violence. And that's not going to resonate with everyone, but to those that it does, my heart is with you. And I'm really glad you're in a place where you can breathe easy now and rest. Take care of yourself. So what internal changes does your intuition want you to know is that, again, you've made it. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you're putting yourself down for watching too many pick a card videos or being on YouTube that much, just know that you don't need to be. It's okay that you have this opportunity to rest. It's okay. You're worthy of being able to relax. So let's get into it. Let's get into it further, even though I was just straight up channeling for 9 minutes. But yeah. So the internal change definitely feels like it's with a lot of emotional blockages that you're clearing, and how you're activating the heart chakra right now. So let's continue with what internal change does your intuition want you to know about when it comes to the heart. That's beautiful. You have the card Strength. Wow. 2 major arcana cards. When it comes to your, like I said earlier, this is like a 9-day situation for you. Strength is the card of being able to be emotionally regulatory. When you see this woman here and how she's tamed this lion, lions are vicious. They're ferocious. They are very arrogant as well sometimes. They're also great leaders and have a prowess in the natural kingdom. And just like those qualities, it feels like you are someone who's been able to tame them, to meet them, to greet them, to love them, to show them compassion and understanding, those qualities that are within you. Sorry. It feels like in this photo, apologies for my scars. I have eczema, so apologies if it's kind of weird. But there's this wreath of roses that goes along the person and the lion. So it feels like you've coated yourself with this huge protective layer, because roses are the highest frequency there is. This protective layer of self-love, self-care. There's something about easing the mind with that too. It feels like you just come into this place of balance and you've risen to the top of your spiritual attainment. The potential that you had for growth, you met it. So when it comes to your internal changes of the heart, it feels like you have a lot more control over it. It feels like you're someone who allows yourself to feel now, allows yourself to process things, and because you know if you don't deal with it now, it's going to come up later with worse consequences. So you deal with it now. You made peace with it now. You understand it now. You don't judge it. You don't have ill will or bad temper. It feels like when you're going through a period of difficulty nowadays, you're able to really sit with your feelings and feel them. It feels like you found purpose and hope, because I'm being shown the university and college kids who are protesting for a free Palestine right now. If you're one of those kids, thank you for being you, for showing up and doing the work. If you're not, and you're someone who is just here to make a difference and to end in genocide, also thank you for talking about it, for posting about it, for having such a huge heart to care about it. But it feels like you're no longer letting a lot of things that would have gotten you down before to get you down now. And because I'm seeing 100 on the clock, it feels like a restart. It feels like a breath of fresh air. And that's not to say that you still don't have your bad days. You do. It's just you're a lot more kind to yourself when it comes to handling them. Okay. We got 2 more cards in regards to what internal changes are my pal ones going through. And you have Ace of Cups. Of course you have Ace of Cups. Again, as I was just saying, this is a new emotional regenerative start for you. It's one where you are able, like the lotus flower in this Ace of Cups, I love how the lotus flower is here. You are someone who's gone through dirt, who's stuck your roots in it, and you're able to bloom. Despite the plethora of water, you're able to continue to not only survive but thrive in such a emotional terrain. A lot of, if you look at a lot of plants, there's not many that, there are a few, but there's not many that can survive within and out of water. There are things like kelp and seaweed and lily pads, but there's also the lotus flower. But that's not a lot in comparison to how many plants grow on the ground. There are a few plants that can be strengthened, fortified, and bloom in such liquid terrains. And I feel like it's a metaphor for how you've been able to blossom through all the emotional moments, experiences that you've gone through. Okay. I get one last card to end off the reading. So what internal change does my pile one's intuition want them to know? Oh, okay. Apparently there's 2. That's interesting. And we also have the 4 of Wands at the back of the deck in reverse. All right, so you have the Tower in reverse as well as the King of Cups. So it feels like when it comes to this emotional strength especially, there was a moment that might have been delayed, because the Tower, even though it's the Tower, the reverse meaning isn't that it's like not gonna happen. It's just that it's more delayed. It's more, and it can also mean it's more internal. But it feels like with this one, it feels like you were this person who was able to calm the storm, and you might have had a partner who was this King of Cups who didn't, you know? It feels like you were water, they were fire. And like, it feels like you dealt with your emotions in a very soothing way, like water does, as opposed to your person, your partner, or your ex who didn't, who dealt with it in a more aggressive, more combustible kind of manner. Because that's what fire is. Fire also represents the emotional aspects in regards to the elements. But fire, unlike water, is something that's very hard to control. So it feels like more of a, it is a spark of life, it is a passion, but it's also one that's very hard to tame. And it feels like because of this person, like the Tower fell down. Something happened, like we were saying earlier. There was an emotional betrayal, abandonment, wound that this person afflicted. But throughout all that, you remained in your cocoon. There was something about you that really like put yourself into a safety net mode. And you meditated on those feelings. And because of that, you came out victorious. If this King of Cups doesn't represent your person, then this King of Cups also represents you. This King of Cups, as you can see with the lotus flower that we were talking about, is wearing that flower as a crown, representing the mastery and skill over this emotional regulation and self-sufficiency, of being able to not only hold your own, but extend your cup towards another person. If you two are still together, it's going to be like a mixture for some people are still together. Hence why I said either your person or your ex. So take it as it resonates. But it feels like you've grown strong roots within who you are. And you know yourself a lot more. And this King of Cups is draped in green, which does represent the heart chakra. So it does really feel like you're someone who's cleansed, cleared, purified what's happened. And it's not like it doesn't live in your mind or that you're completely over it. It's that you're more aware of it, and you can face it, and you can understand it, and you can emotionally regulate in a place that is safer. With the Four of Wands in reverse at the back of the deck, it really does feel like this was a romantic connection. One where you might have seen a future with someone. One where you might have kids with someone. One where your home life, your family life, that part of your survival was jeopardized. And so that's why it feels like you've become victorious. And what your intuition wants you to know about your internal changes is that you have such a mastery and balance, better than before, stronger than before, more resilient. Kind of like when a bone breaks, it feels like you've grown back. You've had time to heal, or you're in that healing time, and you've grown back stronger, or you will grow back stronger than you once were, more fortified. I'm also seeing in Minecraft, like upgrading your gear from diamond to netherite, which is like the highest form of protection that one can have. And so that's how it also feels. It feels like you are someone who's wiser, much wiser now because of the experiences you've gone through. And that is the internal changes that your intuition wants you to know about. You've made it, and you've become a wiser, stronger, better person who loves themselves a lot more and appreciates themselves a lot more because of it. So yeah, that's your reading, my pile ones. I hope you enjoy. This was an absolutely beautiful reading. I hope that you're doing well and you're keeping safe, eating healthy. And yeah, I hope you have a great, wonderful rest of your day. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye. High Pile 2s, if you've chosen the Soul Tarot, the Symbolic Soul Tarot, or the Snow Quartz, this is a reading. So today we're asking the question of what internal changes does my intuition want me to know? And right off the bat, before I've done this reading, I had to do some throat chakra clearing, some voice warm-ups. So it feels like, even though this is an internal change, it feels like you're able to use your voice more. You might be, I'm seeing a YouTuber who used to be mute as a kid, so it feels like that's something that you might be going through, or maybe not to the full extent, but it feels like to some capacity you've shut down a lot of your own opinions, thoughts, expressions to help keep the peace for others, to kind of be neutral for others, to be this kind of mediator. And it feels kind of stressful, I'm not gonna lie. It feels like you paid the price when it comes to the extent of what has happened. But yeah. So let's look into what Snow Quartz is, which is a gentler, more soothing vibrational energy than clear quartz. Allows an individual to see the world through the innocent eyes of a child. The female version of clear quartz, the stone brings a calming and peaceful energy to whirlwind environments. Provides clarity, discernment, and a great focus stone for studying or meditation. To be honest, it feels like you're kind of the snow quartz. It feels like you have this childlike energy. You have this childlike presence, and it's not always appreciated by the environment around you. So sometimes you kind of keep quiet. You might refer to yourself as shy or an introvert. And it's really because the people around you are a bit more abrasive when it comes to, a little bit more volatile when it comes to the way they behave. And it feels like you're someone who's a bit more innocent, especially in the ways in which it's not like you don't know what's going on. It feels like you are that character in a lot of mythical arcs. There's a character where they are the pure and innocent ones. For example, in Lord of the Rings, that's the hobbits. The hobbits are known to be pure of heart, very peaceful, you know? In Yu-Gi-Oh, it is Yugi, the younger, the small Yugi, not Yama Yugi, the pharaoh, but like Yugi, the main character. You know, it feels like, or if you watched Victoria Justice from Victorious, or even Cat Valentine from Victorious, it kind of feels like you were a bit more sheltered, but it allowed you to be this person who has a lot more forgiveness and kindness and resilience towards malicious intents. You have a protective aura about you that doesn't let malignant actions come your way. And it feels like if someone were to try to do that, it would just kind of turn itself on its head, and then they'd end up looking like the bad guy, you know? And if some people are kind of like hesitant towards you, it's because I've never actually met someone that's as pure, as sacred in regards to the standards you hold. And this doesn't mean that you are like helpless or anything like that. It actually, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 on the clock, so it means that you're actually someone who helps move things forward. To be this understanding and compassionate and have the eyes of a child is to be almost at the highest attainment of what you can be. Especially if you practice something like Taoism, there's this notion of being like water. There's this notion of being like a newborn baby, who is someone who can experience things for the first time, who has these fresh pair of eyes, who holds the heart of who they are inside them. That's who you are. That is like the energy that you're exuding. And so with the internal change that your intuition wants you to know is that this is you on a soul level. This is a reconnection of who you are on a soul level. You are someone who is very in tune with their inner self. You're probably doing this pick a card for fun, to be honest. It doesn't really feel like you are in a space of emotional volatility. It feels like you're someone who recognizes the good and the bad and does the best they can to navigate in those spaces. I'm also seeing I think his name is Alistair McCrowley from Home Alone, but the main character in Home Alone, who has like the very, very young eyes, but like he still puts his best foot forward in making sure that he's safe. You know, it might be like there's this cleverness about you that people don't really recognize because you come off so childlike. It feels like sometimes they disregard the fact that there's a wisdom that your soul that you're connected to has passed down through many lifetimes. And if you don't believe in lifetimes, through many experiences that you've had that has made you to be this strong. There's like this meme on the internet that's like, oh, the kindest people have gone through like the most brutal experiences. And I definitely feel like there's a sense of truth to that. It feels like because of what you've gone through, it hasn't hardened you. It hasn't made you jaded. It has made you to be someone who's more kind. It has only strengthened who you were already, which is just this very resilient individual who doesn't really take bullshit from other people. but you can still be compassionate towards other, and it gives you this kindness. It kind of gives this Hufflepuff energy, I'm not gonna lie. And I really wish the Harry Potter series dove into the Hufflepuffs a little bit more and made them a little bit more of a main character. There is that one time where Cedric Diggory literally gives up his life for Harry, you know? I'm just saying. But like, I really wish that was more emphasized, because there is a truth about being kind that, and I'm not talking about nice people, you know, I'm not talking about pleasantries. I'm not talking about people who are polite, like, because I've met those people and they're not always necessarily kind, you know. I'm talking about kind-hearted people who are like willing to give the shirt on their back to another person. I'm seeing this meme talking about like men who are just like the kindest, sweetest people, who basically do the same activities as like like a little girl would, which is like have tea and play cards, and you know, they're the type of people who would literally give their shirt off of their back if you wanted it. If you said, "Oh, I like the shirt you're wearing," they'd be like, "Habibi, okay, here, take the shirt." And then like they would vehemently insist upon it, to the point where like it would be an insult to them if you didn't take the shirt, you know, like, because they recognize material objects are just that. They're material objects. What's more profound is the bond of the friendship, the gift to another being that you can give. There's like this happiness you get in regards to being able to give to others and being able to love others and have this heart for others and be protective, fiercely protective over others. And I feel like that's something that people don't necessarily always understand about you. I feel like you've been a person that they've tried to protect and keep safe and make sure that like you don't hear a lot of bad things, you know. You might have been like the sensitive one growing up, and you've recognized that sensitivity is just a superpower. You've recognized that that ability to be with your feelings and to also be compassionate for other people's feelings is something that's made you who you are, stronger than all the people that you know. Yeah. So you're able to handle a lot of different emotions, and you're able to feel emotions. You haven't been jaded by this world. Your heart hasn't. If you've broken your heart, you've also repaired it. It's not like you've not gone through it. You've gone through it. But you're able to come out of it stronger, better, faster, more healed, more you, more determined to be you. Oh, that's beautiful, man. All right. Let's get some more cards in regards to what internal changes does your intuition want you to know? What internal changes? Yeah, you have the Empress. Why am I not surprised? You also have the Six of Wands. Yeah, like the Empress. Very receptive, very nurturing. Harvests the seeds she has sown, able to lounge and relax on her chair, on her throne, because of the victories. This with the Six of Wands right here, the victories that you have accomplished over the years, especially ones where you've had to use your heart and your head. With the heart and the owl face here, if you can see that. it's felt like you've had to face challenges that required both the strength of your heart and the strength of your head. And being able to balance that and to connect with your intuition, which is the High Priestess, with your inner self, with your inner guidance, in order to make decisions that were best for you to remain in this beautiful Empress energy. When it comes to the Empress card, you might be a soul number 3, like me. What up? I'm soul number 3, and number 3 cards are the Empress as well as the World. So what that means is that in this lifetime, you are afforded a lot more grace because you know how to nurture others, you know how to give emotionally receptive and intellectually aware of what others need and how you can condone yourself and protect yourself and give this kind of solar plexus love to not only yourself but to others. Feels like you're someone who has a lot of confidence, who's really understanding of themselves and their emotions. I'm not really sure how this relates to the question, because the question is, what internal changes does your intuition want you to know? And it feels more like the internal changes that it wants you to know is that you've become merged with your soul. It feels like this victorious aspect of being able to nurture yourself so that you can really be in this very divine feminine era. Because the snow quartz is, even vibrationally, it's the female version of the clear quartz. And again, this doesn't have to deal with like genders. It's just the energies that are going about. You can be any gender. You can be non-binary. You can, yeah. It's just like this for namesake, for labeling, for understanding, for communication word-wise. It feels like you just have this Joan of Arc kind of energy, you know? You have this very victorious, very nothing's gonna get you down kind of energy. But unlike Joan of Arc, you're able to rule as your feminine self, meaning you're able to be a lot more nurturing, be a lot more receptive, be a lot more humble, kind of like a princess. If you ever watched Game of Thrones, there's like this Princess Marjorie who, or even like Princess, and like it's kind of like Princess Diana. If you've never watched Game of Thrones, these two princesses are very the same. The meaning of the word princess is not the bratty kind of way we use it nowadays colloquially. A princess, a real princess, is one with dignity, who gives back to others, who loves others unconditionally, who's compassionate and generous and kind. And it feels like that is your legacy of royalty, is to be those qualities and to have them merge with who you are in the every single day, the every day-to-day interactions you do. You're someone who brings joy and kindness and brightness to everyone around you. You're able to, not even by saying anything, you're just being you. But there's this air of protection that you give to others. Even though sometimes, again, it feels like more like family that might have been kind of not understanding of who you are and the gifts you possess. You know, that's how it kind of feels, like your family didn't really understand you. They were probably had traumatic experiences, but they didn't know how to heal themselves, so they thought emotions were weak or whatever. And you weren't like that. So they tried to protect you and keep you safe, but you didn't need it. So what your internal changes that your intuition wants you to know is that you've grown past that. You don't feel sorry for yourself anymore. You don't let other people feel sorry for you either. There's no pity involved. It's just you being you, unapologetically. Yeah. And because of that, like, you're reaping the rewards of being able to be yourself, being able to feel and have those emotional blockages cleared. You don't let a lot of people get you down. And if something happens to you, you're someone who can bounce back. Obviously, you take the time to heal and take the time to process and feel, but you're not gonna let something that's happened 10, 20, one day, 17 years ago, you know, like, you're not gonna let any of that affect who you are. You're still gonna be you. And that's a rarity. It's something to keep sacred, something we hold sacred in this world. Yeah, I was like, oh, should I pull cards? And I'm like, there's like, no, it's just these three that are needed for you today. The Empress, the Six of Wands, the High Priestess. There's just this huge victory that you have in regards in residing in your divine feminine. And I think that's one of the most important messages in terms of your internal changes that you've made. It feels like if you watched What's Ending, that video that I posted like last week or whatever, you might have been pile 2, the pile that like is now not a pick me, you know? It feels like you're someone who has gone into this authentic mode where you are just you. And you no longer have to reside by the patriarchal norms and standards and rules that society sets. You are the wave maker, the changer, the trailblazer, the blueprint to this quote unquote new world, which is really just a balancing and a more egalitarian, equitable world in which the divine feminine can actually live and have say and be autonomous. You've reconnected with your divine feminine, and that's the internal change that your intuition wants you to know. You no longer are a pick-me, but you are the muse. You are the candid girl. And again, this has no gender. You are the person that people wonder how you're so effortlessly you. And it's because all this soul care, all this work you've done on yourself, all of this understanding of who you are, and being able to keep your soul intact. So congratulations, Val, too. That's absolutely beautiful. Living in a world that's hell-bent on destroying what the feminine means is not easy. It's exhausting. Having your guard up all the time, exhausting. That's something that a lot of the more toxic male community incels won't understand. but you do. So yeah, congratulations on being this new wave, this change, on continuing the waves that have come before you to create a safe, open space for the divine feminine. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep being you. Rock out, yeah. Oh, I love this pile. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a great day, night, or evening, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hi, Pile 3, if you've chosen this High Priestess card from the Good Karma Tarot, or this honey calcite, then this is your reading. All right, so today we're looking at the question, what internal changes does my intuition want me to know? And with honey calcite, we're just going to read the description just to get a little bit of the theme for this reading. So this is a stone of joy. A collector of positive energy. It stimulates one to break out of old patterns and take new directions in life. Helps overcome fear and improve sense of self-worth. Can help remove restrictive patterns caused by sexual or emotional abuse. So the keyword right now that's standing out to me is self-worth and overcoming fear. So as of right now, in terms of what your intuition wants you to know in regards to the internal changes that you are making, is that you are improving your sense of self-worth as well as overcoming the fears that you might have had in the past. It feels kind of like you are opening your heart back up again from things like trauma that could have happened in the past. Yeah, and it feels like you're coming into a more radically optimistic kind of time in your life, because I'm seeing Dua Lipa's radical optimism in my head. So yeah, let's continue on. See what your intuition wants to say. So divine source intuition of pile number 3, please come in regards to what internal change does your intuition want. My pile 3s to know, you have the 2 of Wands. What internal, thank you. You also have the 5 of Wands, the Empress, as well as the Queen of Coins in reverse. Okay. So it feels like in the past, because the 2 of Wands usually connotes like a past, because it usually is someone that looks towards the past. But in this one, it's someone who's looking towards their world, like the earth. So it feels like there was someone who used to be very integral part of your world, and it feels like there was kind of strife that happened between you two because of this 5 of Wands here. It feels like you and this person had a falling out or a disagreement, something that was very transformative in the relationship aspect of your nature. And I'm being drawn to mountains. So part of why it happened was for both of you to have spiritual growth. And I'm saying that because in this, I'm also seeing like this couple from this show called Heartbreak High. If you've known the show, it's the couple Darren and Cash. So they go through a period of their relationship where they stop seeing each other because they both want to figure out who they are besides from the relationship, you know? Darren breaks up with Cash because Darren realizes that he might not be good for them in regards to the sexual nature of their relationship, because Darren is asexual and Cash is asexual and Darren is hypersexual. So they break up to kind of understand who they are and recognize who they are apart from the relationships, and so that they can honor who their individual selves are. And that's how it kind of feels like with this group. It feels like there was a disagreement about something between you and your person, and what happened is that I'm really being drawn to this fly in my room. Unfortunately, there's a fly like outside my window. So like you might have heard something like a fly on the wall. Maybe you heard something that like wasn't meant to be heard, or was like the intention wasn't for you to hear it, and maybe that caused a disagreement. But regardless, your intuition kind of recognized something was up, something was not the way it was supposed to. And because I saw 4/4 on the clock, it was kind of divinely timed. Like it was angelically timed for you to recognize and understand what this person said about you, or said in regards to them not wanting you to hear it. It feels like you were supposed to hear it anyways, you know? And going back to the question of what internal change does your intuition want you to know, it feels like there's this receptivity that you're coming into. With the High Priestess and the Empress coming up, it feels like you're birthing in a new aspect of yourself, which is open to your emotions, open to your heart, open to being able to provide yourself with a lot of love, a lot of care, and a lot of joy. It feels like you're coming into a more positive aspect of yourself, and you're overcoming fear. You're overcoming kind of the coldness, and it feels like right now you're in a fruitful time of who you are and what you want to do. Especially because I'm drawn to the necklace that has a crab on it, which connotes Cancerian energies, which is very, very motherly, very nurturing. And it's heightened with the pomegranate in the Empress here, which is also one of growth and abundance and new opportunities. That's how it really feels. It feels like there's just this new aspect of you that's coming out. And in regards to your internal change, it feels like you're letting go of the past. You're letting go of the patterns that you might have been in. It definitely feels like you're someone who is really... I'm seeing this beautiful bird that just flew out of my window. So, not out of my window, but like I can see like out of my window. So it feels like you're kind of like this bird, being able to fly out to new terrains and not be scared too, you know? I'm also seeing like a bird like falling down and going back up again and flying. So it just feels like you're more open to being able to pick yourself up from what has happened in the past, and no longer having those triggers, having those same type of reactions that you might once have had. And as when it comes to the internal change, it feels like you're talking to yourself a lot more friend-like. It feels like you're actually able to soothe yourself and care for yourself in ways in which if like a bad thought happens, you're someone who, other than giving into those bad thoughts, you kind of distance yourself from it. You kind of observe those thoughts, and you you care for them. You don't judge it. You don't put pressure on yourself, but like you don't engage with those thoughts either. You kind of recognize it for what it is, and you recognize in your own consciousness, in your own acknowledgement to the present, that you are not that. You are not those thoughts, and that you love yourself regardless of what's happened in the past. I'm hearing survivor's guilt, so you love yourself regardless of anything that has happened to you or that you feel like you made happen. It feels like you're forgiving yourself and you're allowing yourself that room to make mistakes. Okay, we're gonna get a couple of cards. What internal change does my pile of threes intuition want to know? You have the 5 of Cups, as well as the 2 of Cups, and then the 5 of Swords. Okay. It feels like you are open to yourself now. I feel like I'm just going to be repeating myself right now, but regardless, I think it's just trying to highlight and emphasize the fact that internally what happened is that you used to kind of dwell over the cups that were spilled, you know, like cry over spilled milk kind of deal. And right now it says my card is full, so there's just gonna be a photo of the spread. But yeah, so what's really happened is that you used to kind of get really upset over the mistakes that you made in the past that has happened, but now it feels like you kind of made up with yourself, with your past self, with your higher self, with your present self, so that you can make room for your future self and you can kind of leave things behind. With the 5 of Swords here, it feels like you only take what's necessary for you and then you leave the rest behind. You're someone who still has a guard up in regards to your heart space, but it's not as closed off as it was before. It feels like when you do have your guard up, it's only because you're reminded of past wounds, past hurts, past experiences, but generally you are in a space where you're walking into the direction of something greater for you, something more optimistic, more positive, one where it's not like you forget your past, but you kind of bring those lessons with you and you're no longer blaming yourself for your past and you're no longer tearing yourself down in regards to what's happened in the past. Yeah. All right. So this is a little bit of a short one, but it's mainly because your message is very clear and my memory card's full. So it feels like that's in that regard, it feels like that has also symbolically like has happened to you. Like you've kind of held on to the memories for so long that they're super full and they no longer allow new things or new opportunities for you to happen. So what's next for you, even though this is a message of what internal change is happening. But like, I guess this is what's next in regards to your internal change, is that you'll be kind of deleting those memories. Like, not in the ways in which you'll like forget it forever, but it's just like you're just discarding what no longer serves you, what no longer is necessary for your life. It feels like you've done the healing, you've done the work, you recognize what happened, why it happened, but you're no longer wallowing in it, and you kind of find peace with the fact that it happened, and that you're forgiving yourself for the fact that it happened, and you want to move forward. And so you can create new memories and fill up your memory card with more positive, more joyful, more memories that give you a sense of who you are in a way where you see yourself in a light that's greater than what's happened. And what do I mean by that? I just mean by like one where you know yourself more, that like you understand that there's no such thing as a good or a bad person. It's just the actions that happen, and that's how we learn and grow, you know? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm so sorry about the memory card thing. I wasn't expecting that, but I do hope that this resonated and brought you the internal intuitive messages that can connect with you. And I hope I did this in a compassionate way so that you recognize how much you've grown and how much you've really done the work in order to get here, you know? Like, you deserve to have a peace of mind and to move forward from what's happened. And I really hope I could highlight that today. So yeah, have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hi, Pal 4. If you've chosen this High Priest card from the Cat Tarot or this Trilobite, then this is your reading. So we're gonna get a bit of thematic answer for the question of what internal change does your intuition want you to know, by looking at this gem, or this rock, I guess. So the Trilobite helps to assist through transition, transformation, and personal growth. Supports the growth of moving from the old to the new, as well as opening one to receptive to fresh and innovative energies. So yeah, this is a time of transition, transformation, and personal growth. So the internal change that you're making is one that is mainly a personal growth and moving on from the old. It seems very similar to pile number 3, but it differs in regards to, this deals more with opening oneself up to fresh and innovative energies. So as pile 3 more dealt with kind of closing off a chapter and the internal change of like allowing newness. This one deals more with, it's kind of like the part 2 of that. That's how it kind of feels. It feels like you've gone through that understanding of your self-worth, and now you're in, like, what's happening internally for you that your intuition wants you to know is that you're in this space of kind of being like a light for others, for a guide for others. You're kind of in this star-studded space of being able to show people the way and people their true nature. And this kind of feels like more of my witchy, more of my spiritual baddie pile. It feels like this is the pile that knows what's up already. You're here for fun. You're here because you just love tarot. And it just kind of seemed like an interesting reading for you, but it feels like you're very well versed with a lot of aspects of yourself, and you already know the cycles that happen in regards to life itself. You're already someone who recognizes that people are just people. There are no good or bad people. There are just people who do good or bad actions, and that every day we're trying to show up to be the most authentic, best aligned person as we are, and sometimes that's not always the easiest. So it feels like you're the pile that understands the nuances of what's happening in the world, and it feels like you might already be securing your bag, getting your money through divination practices like witchcraft or tarot or astrology or being a medium, you know? So what internal changes are my pile fours making in regards to what their intuition wants them to know? So you have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. What internal changes? You have the Hermit. What internal changes? You have Judgment in reverse, as well as the Nine of, I want to say, so you have the Nine of Swords in reverse here. Let's start off with the Page of Pentacles. Ooh, okay, so right now I'm getting this feeling of not being good enough for what you do. It feels like, okay. So in regards to what your divination practice is and how you share that with the world, it feels like you might have a business that already does that, but if you don't, it feels like regardless of where you're at, if you have a business or you don't, it feels like you're someone who likes to hide your practices from others. And what do I mean by that? If you even have a business, it's more of that you're not openly going to like market yourself to people. Like, it feels like you're kind of stepping out of the closet, of the witch's closet, kind of. It feels like you're very comfortable being by yourself and being in your own energy in regards to your spiritual beliefs and spiritual practices, because of all this outside judgment. It feels like the people that don't get it, but it's not like it's not hard for you to like coexist, because it is. Because being isolated, shunned out, or not respected because of what you do, that's something that's hard, you know? Like the general society, general public doesn't respect this kind of spiritual work, you know? They respect religion, just, you know, fucking hypocritical, but they don't respect like spiritual work such as tarot, such as astrology, such as mediumship, you know? It's kind of seen in society of like it's kind of like a laughing stock. Like people like to this day still demonize witchcraft, and that's just not right, you know? And it feels like the internal change that you're going through is kind of coming to terms with that, you know? Like, so what differs you from my pile threes especially is that this isn't one of self-worth, because you already know your self-worth. This is more about connecting with the community. That's how it feels. And it feels like you want to put yourself out there and you want to do more and you want to share your gifts with other people, but you don't want other people to judge you for it. You don't want other people to look at you like a scam artist or someone who sells snake oil. You're someone who really does value the opinions of others, which is great because that really gives you the compassion and understanding of how others move about the world. And it gives you this broader sense of who you are and what the world is made out of without falling into the egotistical trap of just thinking about yourself, you know? It feels like you're someone who has balance of knowing who you are, but also knowing how others think, you know? And so the internal change that you're making right now is one where you're kind of shedding the belief that you need to be for everyone. With the Nine of Swords here, it feels like you're kind of sinking into how others judge you, and you might be someone who is going through a lot of worry, fear, and depression in regards to how others view you, and you might be taking what they say more personally at this moment. So the internal changes that you're making is that you are not reacting to what they say. You're not trying to defend yourself. You're not trying to like fight your way to be heard. You're just kind of going through it. You're just someone who's kind of seeing that and recognizing that, again, you're not for everyone. And so that means that you don't have to please everyone, you know? And that might be really hard for this pile, because if you are someone that is divinely guided, who has a spiritual practice in either witchcraft, tarot, astrology, numerology, mediumship, psychic abilities, like, you're someone who's already grown up feeling kind of outcasted, because these things aren't talked about a lot. Like, you kind of grew up feeling like you are an outsider, someone who doesn't feel like they belong. And so that longing for others' approval is something that is a wound for you. And so the internal change that you're making right now is recognizing this wound first off, and recognizing that even though you've done the healing work and that you are a baddie, it's not like you want to live alone, and it's not like you want to live on the outskirts of nowhere where like you have to do all of the work yourself. Like, for example, you're not going to live in the woods and try to like hook up your own internet or electricity or water or gas or stuff like that. You recognize that you live in a society and you live around people, and you want to be able to have your place in the world. And honestly, like, I totally resonate. I totally relate. Like, this is definitely not what I thought I was going to be doing at this point in my life, but like, we all get here the way we get here, and we're all called to this for a reason. And I'm hearing the girlies that get it, and the girlies that don't. And so that's something you're really cementing right now in regards to the internal changes that you're making, is that you're recognizing that you will find your community. You will find the people that resonate with what you're putting out and resonate with your spiritual beliefs. Because even within this spiritual community, it's not like everyone knows everything, you know? It's not like a psychic is going to be someone who's also an astrologer, or someone who reads tarot cards, or someone who practices witchcraft. No, like, there's still divisions within this community. And this reading, this internal change that you're going through, is that you're finding this community, you know? You're finding a way for you to resolve the fact that you can't be for everyone, and that you're moving into a new energy where you're doing you the best that you can. And it's something that's very different, you know? Again, with this trilobite here, this is a huge transformation, a huge transition for your personal growth, of being able to really stand by yourself and stand up for yourself and be with a community that respects who you are and what you do, you know? Yeah. So what internal changes? You have the Knight of Swords in reverse. What internal changes are, thank you. You have the Queen of Swords upright. What internal changes? All right, perfect. You have the King of Cups, the Page of Cups in reverse, as well as the Eight of Cups in reverse. So the internal changes that you're making, it feels like you're leveling up quite heavily to honor your emotions, honor your intellect, and come to this place of understanding that you're doing the work, you know? You're no longer someone who needs to take the bullshit of others and their opinions and fit yourself into boxes, when you already recognize that you are someone who is someone worthy to be doing your work. You are someone who is worthy to be at the position you are and practicing the spiritual development that you do. You're someone who is honoring themselves, and your intuition really wants you to know that the internal changes that you're making are one that gives you this sense of freedom to be yourself. Yeah. With this King of Cups here, you're not afraid to be intimate, or you're not afraid to commit to who you are anymore. It feels like you have a good anchoring of who you are, and you understand the instincts of what lies deep beneath the surface. You're trusting right now that kindness and generosity are the key to your success. And that's being kind and generous to yourself. So yeah, with this Eight of Cups here in reverse, like, you're coming out of the disappointments of not being accepted by certain people, and it feels like you're letting go of the past. Right now, you're, again, attaining this self-worth, like my pile threes, but this deals more with your spiritual development. It feels like with a lot of these cups cards here, it's just highlighting your emotional maturity to recognizing who you are and recognizing that this is your life. This is your one life that you get to live. So we're not going to really care about the people who don't respect this work, you know? Because your work is work, you know? People who say that, like, this is a scam or, like, this is, like, snake oil are people who just don't know themselves well enough to understand what this is. I find that those who make fun of spiritual practices are people who really don't have any sense of who they are. So just continue to be you and don't listen to those opinions and don't listen to those people who don't know any better. They really don't. These people are, with this judgment in reverse, clarified by the Page of Cups in reverse, these people are very immature. They don't know how to take responsibility, and they are avoidant people who are avoiding themselves. Like, you are this High Priestess, you are this King of Cups, you are this Hermit, you are this Queen of Swords. You know, you're someone who knows your worth. You have done the work to be by yourself. And so you really shouldn't take the opinions of those who don't have good judgment and who are irresponsible. Yeah, and I flipped to the Sun, so good things are coming your way. You know, you're going to find the people who really value you and really appreciate you for who you are. Because again, like, the Queen of Swords also is someone who's dignified and disciplined, you know, and who doesn't come across as someone who's demanding. So it's just someone who leads with grace, and it feels like you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom and inquisitiveness when it comes to who you are and what you're here to do and what life you're here to live. So again, you might be going through a time where, like, these people who, again, are below you, it feels like these people are below you. This Page of Pentacles clarified by this Knight of Swords, both in reverse. It feels like these people don't know who they are. Again, there's a lot of pages, a lot of knights, but you are coming up as this queen, this king, and this High Priestess, and this hermit, you know? So it's really people who aren't worth your time. Yeah, these people with this Knight of Swords in reverse are overconfident, they're chaotic, they are insensitive, and they're egotistical. And, you know, they're gonna try to leap towards heights that are too high for them, and they're gonna fall and they're gonna fail. And so they're gonna need time to rethink their own approach to how things are going with them in their lives. And honestly, those people, like, will be sorry for what they've said to you or how they treated you or how they disrespected you, because again, you worked with the divine, and the divine doesn't like it when people mess with you. So they're gonna get their own comeuppance, they're gonna get what they deserve, they're gonna get their own time of healing, of being able to find themselves. But before that happens, you shouldn't concern yourself with them, because you are much better than what these people are trying to convince you of who you are. You are someone who knows yourself more. You are, I'm hearing silly little boys. These are just silly little boys that are immature and who don't work hard like you do. And yeah, like people, like most people are like, yeah, this doesn't make you better or worse than, but you are better. You are better than these people because you actually taking the time out of your life to get to know who you are and what you like. And these people are trying to tear you down because they don't know who they are. They don't know what they like. They don't know. They just don't know. And, you know, I just saw 333 on my timer. So it's just, you're someone who has such a huge heart space, and who's very compassionate and who has that longing to be accepted and loved. And trust me, you will be by the right community. So don't concern yourself with these people who aren't up to your standards, up to your level, really. Like, and these might be people you see on the day-to-day basis, so it might be hard. But the internal change that you're making is that you are leaving those people behind you so that you can open up yourself to people that accept you the way that you do accept yourself, and coming into a space where you do feel like you belong in a community that you're making a difference in, that you are making waves for, that you are being the lighthouse for. We need you. We really do. For you to be yourself, your true authentic self, without the drama of these other people. Yeah. We need you to be your intuitive deity that you are. So continue to be you. The internal changes that you're making is that you are really allowing this to come into fruition. You're really letting those people's opinions and thoughts melt away. And you're allowing for the sunshine to come in, for that knowing of yourself to really connect back to. So yeah. I hope this helped and resonated, and I know how hard it is to be in this situation because I spent years in this situation. So if you ever need someone to talk to, I always love replying to this community. It's given me solace throughout some of the most intense and most hardship of times that I've been through in the past. You know, being on the internet, being in a community like this, connecting with others, connecting with people like you has really given me a reason to be here and to continue living the life that I do and being myself. So I want to thank you so much for joining me, for listening, and for being you. Continue to be you because you're amazing. Yeah. So I hope this helped and resonated, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.